Salutations everybody, it is Maddie here today, sitting down to talk about a little bit of Xbox. A little topic here crawled across the Mr. Maddie desk, and I thought to myself, well, is this worth talking about? And the answer is, of course, yes, because we're here today. Now, why did I have this question mark about this topic? Well, we are going to get into Xbox marketing and product visibility. I know this is more of an enthusiast conversation, but I do think it does impact the overall audience more than they recognize it does. But I understand the idea that most of us are just interested in the games and how the games are performing and are the games good. And I'm totally here for that conversation. But today, I wanted to talk about how I feel Xbox is actually failing their own games and not just random third-party deals. I'm talking about first-party Xbox game studios and how Bethesda and Xbox game studios need to get on the same page, because this does have a serious impact when you think about Activision Blizzard coming into the fold, and then they have dozens of games to announce, reveal, and market, and they just need to get on the same page. So this situation will gradually explain itself as I go through it, and you'll start putting all the pieces together. But if you're new here and you're into Xbox news and information, consider subscribing. Let's begin with the spark plug for this conversation. We talked about it on Defining Duke a couple of episodes ago when folks were asking about the Redfall trailer and how it was kind of weird that no one had retweeted it on the Xbox account. Now, Clobril took an even closer look at what was happening here, who is a very popular member in the Xbox community, and really put a big spotlight on what's missing for Xbox. So I wanted to go ahead and signal boost this conversation. So let's get started with how it all began. As I mentioned, a Redfall trailer dropped. Now, what I will say is I did my part and I helped showcase the trailer because I thought it looked really good. I've been pretty down on Redfall, but what I saw in the latest trailer that dropped a little bit over a week ago, Into the Night is what it's called, was great. It had tone, it had atmosphere. I felt like I had really started to turn a corner on the game, where originally it looked like generic open world co-op game with vampires, but this felt like it had an identity now. So I was really about what was there. I put it in the headline of our video. Like, I was totally for Redfall. Xbox seems to not have been, because again, Xbox Game Studios and Bethesda are not on the same page. It was silly already that they were dropping the trailer with very little promotion, but the bigger problem here for Xbox is that the same day this Redfall trailer drops, it was actually the same day that Age of Empires had their 25th anniversary stream. And during that stream, they made a plethora of announcements. They talked about Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition coming to consoles, Age of Empire 4 coming to consoles, Age of Mythology Retold, it's coming to PC. They announced a new mobile game. This was a pretty big to-do for the Age of series, and I think it's really important that that got its shine, just like it's really important that Redfall gets its shine. Xbox has a really unique opportunity where, upon the completion of the Activision Blizzard deal, if it's to go through, they could be announcing stuff constantly. They could have each day an announcement if they so desired, each day a news beat, and they could really let each of their games flex their muscles and just keep spotlighting all the stuff coming to the Xbox platform. But instead, as we see here, these products are not being put in front of people, and in fact, they're just overlapping each other, where if you go to Xbox's YouTube channel, when I last looked, Redfall crossed 60,000 views. Look, I'm sorry, but Redfall, a AAA game with Microsoft marketing money, should not be getting the same amount of viewership as a Mr. Maddie video. I don't know how else to put it. Like, this is a first-party game. This should be popping off, and it should feel premium. Like, it's a great thing that it's dropping. It's a great thing that we're seeing more about it. And you could make the argument, number one, that, well, Arcane just markets games a lot. You just see them everywhere, trailer after trailer after trailer, and there's a bit of saturation there, so there's not as high interest. We haven't missed it for a while, whereas if a Starfield trailer dropped, the last time we saw this game in motion was the summer showcase, so it would be a bigger deal. But the reality is, Xbox has successfully made Starfield feel like a premium product, where I think Redfall has felt a bit more second fiddle, which, regardless of my feelings, they shouldn't do that. The second thing you could argue is, why does this matter to me, the consumer? Like, why should I even care about the market visibility? I'm just here for the good games. And to that I say fair play. Yeah, like, it probably doesn't matter to you, but what I will say is that you should be more interested in product visibility for Xbox, because with Game Pass in the mix, with first party in the mix, with third party exclusives in the mix, there's a good chance that you miss something that you may think is really cool. And while there is that excellent moment of, wow, I didn't even know this exists, I can't believe no one's talking about this. Sadly, it's just the nature of today's video games industry because so many games are releasing now and a lot of them are pretty good that you will have that moment more often. But I feel like Xbox, as a large platform holder, should be doing their best to lift up their top products at the very least. I understand there will be some trickle down and some things will fall through the cracks that are maybe indies or smaller third-party games, and that just will happen by nature of the industry. But I think the overall fans should be interested in seeing products be posted more, talked about more, celebrated more, and having their own day more importantly, because you get a chance to see it. I saw a lot of people writing in after this topic was brought up that folks maybe didn't even know about the Redfall trailer if I didn't put it in my video, in the case of my personal audience. And that says a lot. I shouldn't be responsible for, nor do I claim responsibility, but I shouldn't be responsible for putting these products in front of people. I don't work for Xbox, I don't work for Microsoft. It's their job. I'm just excited about the games, right? I just want to talk about the games. But it should be, Microsoft's job to make sure that that's not happening, that people are just coming to me for my opinions, not to see, oh, there's new Redfall gameplay, huh? I didn't see that. That's not how people should be clicking on my videos. I'm happy to have y'all here. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining, but if I'm in their position, if I'm working at Xbox, I don't want people clicking on a Mr. Matty video or Randall Thor video or a Jez Corden article because they have heard about, say, the gameplay for the first time. I want it to be a known thing that it is dropped, and I'm searching for all these Xbox creators and other industry members because I just want their opinion on what's happening here. Like, that's the type of stuff that I think Xbox is missing. And they need to get their brands on the same page. You should not be having a ton of Age of Empires announcements the same day as a Redfall trailer dropping. It just shouldn't happen. You can make another fair argument that, oh, these, Age of Empires isn't like the sexiest series. Like, is it really going to overlap with the fanship that Arcane has? And obviously the answer is no. But the reality is that Xbox didn't retweet this trailer for a while. They didn't even post it for a while. And they are stinking big time at promoting even an upcoming exclusive. Do you know how many times they've mentioned Pentiment? Once on their official account. Once. One single time they mentioned Pentiment. And I'm sure that will ramp up as we get closer to the launch, but that comes out November 15th. So we got to hear more about this one, especially because I know, again, this is one of those games that isn't, I like to use the term sexy. It isn't one that is going to pop off the screen like a Destiny 2 will or a Starfield will, like a big deal game. I understand that. But Xbox needs to walk the walk and talk the talk. You can't say you're all for diversity of games, and then when it's time to celebrate a very diverse game from one of your premier first-party studios, you kind of just go off the grid. I understand that Game Pass in itself is a marketing arm. Just saying a game is coming to Game Pass, you could argue, is giving Pentiment the rub, giving Redfall the rub, giving Age of Empires the rub. And there is some truth to that. Certainly, I've seen it on my own channel that there are games I talk about, like Warhammer 40k, like Plague Tale Requiem, where I knew there was some more interest from my audience because there was the Game Pass rub. Like, people knew it's a part of the service, so by default, the Xbox ecosystem is more interested in that title because you won't have to pay for it, you just get to download it. So I do completely understand that notion, but I feel like they should be doing a better job bringing things together, especially now because coming into 2023, they are going to need to really figure things out fast. If that Activision deal goes through, then you've got Xbox Game Studios, then you've got Bethesda. Everyone's going to want to announce stuff. Everyone's going to want to reveal stuff. I think 2023 in particular, and this is just speculation, will be a big year for reveals, like actually seeing games from Xbox. And you don't want to have that overlap because one thing I've said is going to be really unfortunate is as much as I'm for finally laying my eyes on all these Xbox Game Studios titles, we don't want to shotgun blast them. You have a rare opportunity in a industry that is all about, here's our game, see in like 5 to maybe 6 years, we'll be back type of energy. You have the opportunity to spread the wealth and make it feel like big, bombastic exclusives are dropping frequently on your console. Something that was already a rarity, but now you have the opportunity to go on the other end of the spectrum where you have so much to talk about. And I like the idea of overwhelming fans because maybe that's what you want to do. Like, they've suffered long enough. It's time to overwhelm them. I get that mindset, but I feel like they have an opportunity to really spread the wealth, have their quarterly exclusives, give other games time to cook longer if they need to. Your Perfect Darks, maybe your Vows, those types of things. Like, you can let them cook a little bit longer while fans are playing other stuff, talking about other stuff. And this is where I think the need of a quarterly show comes in. Xbox just has too many things happening on Game Pass, on indies, and soon first party and eventually third party whenever the timing's right, to not have their own Nintendo Direct or State of Play. They do like to clearly do shows. They go to TGS, they do the Gamescom opening night live. Of course, they do the summer showcase, even when E3 wasn't a thing. Like, they're always doing shows. The ID at Xbox Twitch Gaming showcase stuff. I mean, they are always doing stuff. So don't get me wrong, they have the willingness to make shows. I just think they're putting them in the wrong places. I've said ad nauseum, cut that Twitch deal ASAP. You're hurting the indies on that. You're hurting the indies on that because no one's watching it. It's too personality driven, it's too ego driven, and it's not focusing on the games. And you know what would lift up those games is an Xbox quarterly show that says, hey, come to the Xbox Now show. A 30-minute showcase of indies, third party, and Starfield. And let that be that. I think that would be tremendous. I think it would lift up all of the games involved. And if you just had a show with a core focus of games, it could allow you to do that shotgun blast all at once because you're bringing people to a central point. But when you're doing an Age of Empires 25th anniversary stream here, or then a Redfall trailer over here, you just got people spread in too many places and you risk the chance of them missing something. The unfortunate reality with any industry is you get the big pop once. And I know you can replicate the pop, but there's never quite that one true moment. You want to sustain the momentum, sustain the hype. You need to keep attention on it. And that's not what they're doing here. They're just announcing stuff and it's exciting, like Redfall exclusive, here we go. Anyway, and moving on, it doesn't have that sustained attention to create a premium allure. It's why I always say, and I've never seen really anyone disagree with it, but it's why I say Starfield's like the most important game of the generation for Xbox. Because they are making that feel like the premium product. Like, they gave Todd Howard 15 minutes on stage. He opened the show for the first ever Xbox Bethesda showcase. Like, they're really giving Starfield, like I said, I love this word, they're giving Starfield the rub, right? They're giving them the premium rub. They need to do that with their other games. And how do you do that when you only host like a couple of big showcases a year and you're a big participant in the Game Awards? You have your own show so you can indicate what games get the Xbox rub when you cap out the show. I just think, again, once Activision Blizzard joins the fold, you will have utter chaos. And it's a lovely chaos if you're an industry enthusiast, but as someone who feels like these products need more visibility, there are going to be great games that get missed, not because they're bad, not because they're uninteresting, not because the developers didn't try. They're going to be missed strictly because Xbox failed to put it in front of eyes. And I know it's not as easy as snapping your fingers, a commercial on the Super Bowl, snapping your fingers, here's a trailer. It takes a concerted effort to pull what will be 3 teams together. But this is what I worry about when we talk about Xbox acquisitions, is getting all of these teams on the same page. And right now they let them self-govern, which is cool, which is great. I love to see them run themselves. I'm not saying Xbox has to stick their hand in there and mess things up, but just create a sense of order. Like, hey, attention all studios. Once a quarter, we're having a showcase. By this date, ahead of the quarter's ending, we want to have an idea of where you're at in the game and if you have something to show. Just make it a mandate across the teams. Send out your mass email. Just let that be that. Do it every quarter. Gather them around. Okay, we have a lot this showcase. Let's do a 45-minute show. We don't have much. Let's do a 20-minute show and do what PlayStation does. They temper expectations fantastically, I think, where they say, yeah, it's a 20-minute show just focusing on PSVR. It's like, okay, I'm not into PSVR. I'm tapping out. Or we're having a show in the case of Xbox just focusing on Redfall with a couple indies. I'm not into Redfall. I'm tapping out. Then you can get a more accurate gauge on why your games are succeeding and failing. Are people just not interested in games like Redfall, or did you just fail to market them? Overall, I just think there's so much here that Xbox can improve on and lift up these products. So that's all I have to say on this. It's something, again, we talked extensively about on Defining Duke with myself and Cog. I wanted to have the conversation here to signal boost it even further. But now it's time for you all to chat. What do you think about what I had to share in today's video? Do you agree that Xbox is having a marketing problem? Is it just an enthusiast issue, or do you think it's an issue for consumers? I'm looking forward to seeing your thoughts. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support the hell out of the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.